Someone fell with these. All right, cool. We are live. Let's see what's going on here. So, if you guys were following along, this is going to be part two of the Triumph Speed 4 Diagnostics No Start. In the first video, looks like YouTube may have crapped out. But we're charging our battery. We pretty much pulled the spark plugs. We found out when we pulled out the coil sticks. Shop light took a shit, so apologize for the not the best lighting, but all four spark plugs were pretty much covered in oil, the tips, and I don't know if there's oil inside the cylinders. Might have just been whatever residual oil was in the coil stick area. That might have drained down when I pulled the spark plugs, but all four spark plugs, the electrodes were basically fouled with oil. And from how it looks, let's see here, see if I get some better light. So the tips look clean. That one, that could have been drained on, leaked on. It looked kind of clean, so I'm going to go with, 50-50 chance. But we'll go ahead and follow up really quick. Want to check one more thing. We're going to pull off the valve cover on this bad boy. I want to see basically what's going on. So the first thing I'm noticing is those O-rings there. There's usually an outer gasket, an outer O-ring that goes along the perimeter of the valve cover. And then you also have these inner O-rings typically that go where the spark plug holes are. Sometimes there'll also be like a pair valve pair valve cover might be incorporated. It all depends on the manufacturer. We're gonna find out, but I'm just looking, and the cylinders I noticed 2 and 3 were just completely filled. But look, you can already see. Look at the O-ring. O-ring's fucked up, so that's gonna be an issue right there. But let's see to the extent of the damage, because I can always figure out what the problem is, but what makes me a good mechanic is typically trying to figure out as quickly as possible, of course, what is the underlying issue and why it failed. And we checked I didn't check all four. I still got to check number 4 just to get an idea, but just assuming cylinder number 4, or cylinder, should I say, cylinders 1 through 3, was getting about 235 to 240 psi. Now, I don't know, that seems like quite a bit. I don't think this is like, I mean, some of those KTM engines, are running like Aprilias. They're running like 13.5 to 1, which is like super high, which, maybe it's very possible that's what this is. But most of the engines are like 11.5 to 12.5, so getting around 200 to 220 psi is usually pretty standard on an engine like this. But it's very possible. Might have to refer back to the service manual if there's any literature on this model, and see if I can get some specs as far as the compression on it, what standard compression is. Or if you're watching this video and later on, after it's posted, um, we'll see if we figure it out. But if somebody knows the engine compression spec on this one right here, go ahead and put it down in the comment box. That way people have an idea. But I'm saying on a fresh motor, standard specs probably like around 200 to 220 typically, um, give or take. But let's see if kind of want to see what's going on inside of the combustion chamber. Now this camera, this Harbor Freight one, it doesn't fully go into the spark plug hole, depending. Almost like wish I could like machine that down, but usually I can't remember. It may or may not fit. We'll find out right now. Yeah, Snap-on sells a badass one, which is really nice. It's a Speed 4 that has been completely customized. This thing is not original whatsoever. Uh, let's do this. Not to scrape any oil. Get in the hole. Focus. We're going. I don't think it'll. I think I have another one of those problems, but we can kind of see. Oh, look at that. Kind of get a look at the top of the piston. Yeah, it's about as far as my camera will go down. I need like a slightly smaller, but you can see the top of the piston crown. It's kind of hard to. Is there any damage to it? Is that? Look at that little. That looks kind of weird. What is that? Could just be a reflection of the camera. It looks like there's a lot of carbon buildup on the dome of that piston. Let's check number two. See, is it number two? I think number two should be at top dead center. No, where's she at? It's down in the hole still. Let's see, cylinder number one. Ah, oh my God! Look at all the. Let's look at the top of that. Ah, 12 and a half compression on that speed four. Perfect. So I'm going to say then probably 220 to or 200 to 220 is standard. But look at the amount of carbon buildup on that piston. Well, let's see if I can get a how much carbon buildup there is. That's fucking crazy. Yeah. Usually if it was like a 13 and a half to one, that's where you start getting to that like 13. I don't think I forget if it's like 13 or 13.1 to 1 compression ratio on some of those KTMs and Aprilias. Those will typically have like 220 plus psi, little bit higher. So all right, let's see what else we can find out. I want to see. Let's go ahead and pull off this valve cover here. So we'll just go ahead and take some stuff off. Take off that. Hmm. Bicycle time. Just put this with all the other bicycle parts. Hmm. Interesting. So we have a pressure side and return side. This is pressure side towards the rail. Is there a return? And then a return, or is it opposite? Maybe that's maybe that's the inside because there's the pressure regulator right there. Usually you're going to want to regulate pressure going into the fuel rail. So that's probably in. Should be this one right here, and this is the red's probably going to be the return side. Pressure side and return side. O-rings look a little one of them was leaking. That's probably that one right there. The return side was it's definitely a leak. Probably replace the fuel line altogether. They're still available. Looks like just some regular high pressure fuel line with some Oetker style clamps on them. They almost look like you could reuse those if you want to. Probably wouldn't recommend it, but interesting. Okay, so let's see what we gotta do to take this off. Black to black. How the fuck does this one come apart? Oh, just pull them. Let's see what else we got. Got some custom wiring in here, and we're not gonna be able to disconnect that from the harness. That looks like the, what is that? It's the speedometer. Let's see, where's that little clip at? On the underside? Okay. Greasy. A little bit of PB blaster. Did I disconnect the right one? I think I did. What else? Might give us enough room to work on it now. What is it? T50? Oh, that looks fucking stripped out. Oh no, those are Allens. Thought there were Torx there for a second. They're just stripped out. Oh, son of a bitch. Hold on. I can go grab some more tools really quick. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, what'd I do? Okay, valve cover hardware looks a little stripped out. What is it, a 5 or 6? Looks like it's a 6. That one's kind of stripped. So is that one. don't feel like fighting stuck fasteners today. I'm feeling all these back ones right here. That one's not stripped, just that one. Okay. Oh yeah, got it, motherfucker. Ooh, just a little bit more PB for good luck. Oh yeah, got it. All right, cool. So now, probably not gonna be able to get a. Ooh, almost gotta be careful on this one. I should be able to. Wonder if I can. Did I bring those in? I don't think I did. BRB one more time. Oh yeah. Okay. Wrong one. Let's go with a. It's gonna be a 6. I think they should all be. Am I gonna be able to get that angle? Heck no. About from right here. Okay. And I think for the last two, I can just go ahead and kind of buzz those out. Save a little bit of ratcheting time. Bam. Okay. Let's see how far we can pop this up. I might have to disconnect some of this right here. So this bike's definitely gonna have to probably gonna need to be reassembled after this. Okay. Pulling that fucker. Yeah. Okay, kind of roll that out of the way a little bit. Let's see how tight this is gonna be. So it looks like they glued on the valve cover part. Where's the inner part at? So I'm probably gonna have to disconnect these. How the fuck does that one come apart? Do you gotta pull the fucking radiator out in order to... Nah, I shouldn't have to. Wait. Might have to drop the radiator out of the way ever so slightly. Alright, let's see. Is there a lower mount?
see a lower mount right here. Looks like it's an Allen with a 10mm custom bolt on the back. Let's see. Okay. Oh, motherfucker. Oh. Okay, I think we should be good on this right here. Kind of monitor that battery a little bit. What the fuck was that? Oh, one of those. So it looks like you gotta pull, I'm assuming you gotta probably, in order to get this off, you need to drop the radiator, do a coolant flush. That's the only way that's coming off. Interesting. Yeah. You'd have to replace the radiator. This is like, fucking nobody does that. Oh, now your bike's obsolete. You can't fix the cooling system on it. So, let's see here. That one's still stuck in there. Yeah, I don't think it would easily come out. I don't think I can sneak it over either. But try to get an idea. The valve cover popped up. Could even probably pull these throttle bodies. That would kind of give us a better look. How do you remove these throttle bodies? There. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so what? Pop the valve cover back on. We'll hit those really quick. Let's see. Oh, we're doing some electrical work earlier. And as always, got to clean up from the previous job, but you know, diagnostics don't got to be super clean. Let's see. It's a 5. Do I have there it is. Those are fucking seized up a little bit. try that. What? Oh, fuck no, these things are tight. Yeah, pretty much got them like 75 to 90% threaded out. So let's see if we can get a better sneak peek through this angle right here. Try not to fully disassemble the bike, but trying to get a good idea if there's any damage that occurred. Lobes look kind of, holy shit. Does that lobe have, is that lobe flat right there? Am I tripping? Ooh. Hey guys, what does that cam lobe look like right there? These are, I know that the Triumphs, I've seen this before. Usually the cradles and the cams go to shit. That looks like scoring right there. It's probably had an oil pressure loss. Losing a lot of oil pressure and not lubricating the cams. Yeah, that looks like yeah. Look at that cam, or the yeah, look at the lobe. Look at that. I think they're all like that. That looks a little on the excessive side. I don't know, what do you guys think? Or is that Triumph metallurgy? I know these things are notorious right here because I've taken apart quite a few. Usually the cam cradles and the cylinder head, if the lobes on the cam look like that, the cradles probably aren't too far behind. So let's see, anything, where's the, I want to know where the where those fucking O-rings went. Oh, they're there. Oh, they're just oh, they're there. Oh, I see them. It's kind of hard to do it for the YouTube, but I gotta get that angle. I don't think you're gonna be able to see it, maybe. Yeah, there they are. You see it kind of, they're there. There's one of them. That's for cylinder number 2. So they're in place. They're just super swollen and like, yeah. That lobe doesn't look super healthy. I mean, realistically, it's probably fine, you know. How many miles are on this thing? Battery disconnected? Oh, yeah. Shut off the switch. Let's see. I'm going to assume this one right here. Nope, I was wrong. Where did it go? Right here? That's for that one. I believe that's for the ignition. That's for that. I don't know. Maybe it needs both of them plugged in. The fuck is that? Oh. I acknowledged that it wasn't plugged in. Hold on. So we got 25, almost 26,000 miles on that bike, on this motor here. Probably original. It's kind of gonna line up. I mean, 25,000, probably hard miles. The bike's not original, it's been chopped up. So, yeah, it looks like it's been modified a little bit. Whatever kind of use. Looks like it might have been doing some, I don't know. Usually when people do that, they go off-roading on them, which would be, you know, kind of interesting on a larger bike like this right here. But about 26,000 miles, showing moderate cam galling. You know, spark plug holes full of oil. Could I get it to run? I'm pretty sure it'll fire up on the compression that it has. Now the next thing would be is, you know, do we got spark? Do we got ignition? So I'm kind of curious. We can kind of put this back down here. So it's probably not going to seal as RTV'd on. Yeah, this thing is just, valve cover's completely shot. Okay, make sure we got nothing in the rotating section. I think we're, yep, should be good. It's not like it's gonna fire up. And let's see, our stick coil wires are right here. So let's go ahead and do a quick ignition function check. May or may not have spark. The fuck did I take apart? Does it need the clutch switch? It might need the clutch switch. Oh, I heard a click. What's that mean? Does that mean spark equals fun? Oh shit. Oh, bike's in gear. Oh. Oh, fuck. Hold on. Whew. It's okay. We're live, so anything can happen. Oh, okay, there we go. See? That's why it's important to pay attention to your gauge display. All right. So once again, sparkety spark. See a little bit of sparkety spark. Kind of camera. You can kind of see it. Okay. just make sure all of them are kind of working really quick. This thing probably needs a valve adjustment too. I would not doubt it. It's probably never had it done before, at least the valve inspection check. The engine needs to be completely removed to get that valve cover off? Nah, you're bullshitting. No, you just gotta take off the radiator and that valve cover will come off. Don't scare me, guys. I mean, I guess it's better than having to replace the flux capacitor. Looks like it's working. That has a broken connector. Yeah, looks like it's working. So we have okay compression. That was a little short. Let's see, where can we arc it? Arc it to the frame. Copy. Full send. Oh shit, you see that arc? Look at that arc. Shee! It's ignition. All right, cool. So, and what you just saw me doing, you got to be very careful. You got to make sure you have, like, you know, no fumes, well-ventilated area, gas tank, you know what you're doing. No fuel sources, basically, when you're doing an open spark test like that. Typically, you know, if there's enough volatile fumes in a small enclosed space like which we're in, you could have issues, but, you know, I got okay ventilation and, you know, most combustible sources are removed. So we should be okay for an open spark. There is a tool that you can put over it, but I like to, you know, just sometimes it's quicker and easier depending on the setup. Unless we had like an actual ignition issue, then I might, you know, instead of having to arc it like that, I'll leave the cylinder, you know, maybe leave it just down in the hole and then use my spark plug testing tool, which just basically has like a filament inside of it, like a light bulb that, you know, flashes or gets illuminated when there's, you know, voltage current passing through it. So I think I have a pretty good idea of what the bike is probably going to need at minimum right now. Probably, you know, battery, valve cover. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to check the valves. Could get pricey. You know, or maybe just at bare minimum, just replace that valve cover gasket. It looks like we're gonna have to pull the radiator out, do a coolant flush in order to do that. Wouldn't be a bad idea to do an engine oil change, replace the filter, do pretty much a basic tune-up, a valve adjustment. Shoot, if you even want to go a step further, replace these ignition coils right here. Get new spark plugs, of course. The reason for that is if these have been sitting in oil for a while, they are pretty well insulated and sealed, but sometimes, you know, oil will get in between the crevices here, especially this is what, 2002, so this coil stick here is roughly 24 years old. So, you know, just pretty much to alleviate any potential failures in the near future, because it happens all the time. I'll go ahead and do a basic fix, and then, you know, customer might hit me up like a month or two later after the bike's finally running, and hey, it's not running right again, and finding out it was one of these coil sticks or, you know, a fuel pump or something like that. So that's why when you go to a dealership and, you know, it's $1 million to fix your bike, that's because they don't want you to come back and, you know, hey, why isn't this running, or why isn't this working right? They're usually going to sell you a service to alleviate that problem. But yeah, from what I can see, everything's looking pretty good so far. Maybe I'll go ahead and double check number 4 really quick just to do a thorough inspection. Go ahead and double check cylinder number 4. And we should get an idea at this point, you know, the overall health of the engine. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the chat. Okay. We'll hold these little thingies open. Oh, that's a fucking issue. Look how much fucking compression's in this thing. I don't want to fucking damage my gauge. This thing's probably going to have pre-detonation like a motherfucker. Fucking almost 300, almost 300. I didn't want to go. I want to fuck up my snap-on compression gauge. Look. Fucking try and fucking shit up. Should be okay. Hopefully it goes back down. Yeah, you got to be careful. You almost need a diesel compression gauge. So this thing right here, I got like 235, 240, 235, and almost fucking 300 psi in that right cylinder. That is no bueno. We're gonna have major issues. So how do we correct that? So I guess that would be the next thing. Customer wants the bike. You know, we're always capable. We can fix anything. Can't promise I'll do it for cheap. You know, but I have a pretty good feeling that we could. Fuck is this for? Fucking, is this like a ghost wire? Is that a, oh, that's a vent hose or a vent line. Oh, that fucking shit fell off. Where does this go to? Oh, it goes to the fucking ECU. Look at that. So it's using, it's probably using, what that would be if it's hooked up to the air box. I don't think it was hooked up to the throttle bodies, so I'm assuming it's hooked up to the air box. Interesting. Yeah, that goes, this hose right here goes to the computer, so it's not directly, unless it's hooked up to the throttle bodies. That doesn't look like it's going to hold very good pressure. It's kind of interesting. At least that's what it looks like. It looks like there actually should be a rubber hose attached to it, and yeah, this bike definitely needs a little bit of work. Yeah, no, that's it right there. So I think there's supposed to be a rubber hose in there. It's probably broken down inside maybe. And what that's going to do is probably tell the computer, it's probably using using that for, you know, probably the ignition advance, I'm pretty sure. Could be emissions related thing too, who knows? Maybe in order to pass emissions, needs to know crankcase pressure, you know, intake, vacuum pressure. So, you know, it can change fuel mixture on the fly. Usually the Japanese don't do anything like that. I've seen like on other jet skis, some Sea-Doos, and I think Yamahas, they'll do stuff like this right here where they'll have, you know, it uses, I think it, it uses crankcase vacuum pressure for ignition advance off the ICM, or ECU ICM, ignition control module. And yeah, that's very interesting. So yeah, back to the, oh no. Back to the theory on how would you remove that carbon there? I don't know, take apart the motor? Is that Bekirov Manzur? The engine needs to be completely removed. I mean, if you're referring to, because we have excessive cylinder compression, and from all that carbon buildup from oil leak inside, or who knows, could be bad piston rings too. It's kind of hard to say. Yeah, the only way you're doing that is the motor's definitely getting pulled out. I'm not doing a tip. I mean, sometimes you can do a top end in these things with the, or at least you can do a cylinder head. Can't do a top end in order to do in order to get those pistons out. Usually, yeah, this is a long block. This is the cylinder head here. So you're removing those connecting rods and pistons from the bottom side of the engine. So I'm trying to think though, is there a way to, I mean, with like really minimal, like what I'll do on like bikes, you know, that have a little bit of gunk and buildup on the intake valves. Usually what I'll do is I'll, you know, carefully, you have to do it very carefully, but you know, you do it for a couple different cycles. I'll spray just a little bit of water in each cylinder, and you have to be very careful because, you know, water doesn't compress as well. It's a little bit more dense. You don't want to obviously create hydro lock. Usually you'll kind of drown out the spark, you know, kind of prevent ignition from happening. It'll be a little too much water in there to support combustion. You know, kind of make the engine stall. But usually I'll spray just a little bit of water and then use a fuel treatment, you know, some type of fuel additive that'll typically help with carbon removal. And I've also seen some products, I know BRP makes for their spiders, they make a fuel system service, which you basically, I think it's like 2 treatments, 2 full tanks of gas or so. And basically it's designed to completely remove the varnish from the inside of the throttle bodies and a lot of the varnish on the intake valves and combustion chamber without having to like disassemble anything. But you know, that's probably on like, that's mainly on varnish, not necessarily carbon buildup. So it's probably not going to help our customer too much because it's not necessarily a varnish issue. This is going to be more of oil leak, carbon buildup. So I kind of want to take a look here too. So that port looks pretty good, surprisingly. That port looks pretty decent too. No, these ports are clean. So intake ports are super clean actually. So how the hell did all that? I'm guessing only that oil. I mean, that would make sense. If you guys basically watched part 1 before YouTube cut out, when I pulled out the coil sticks, I noticed there was a bunch of oil on the coil sticks. So instead of pulling out the spark plugs and allowing, you know, a bunch of oil in the hole to drain into the combustion chamber, I basically evacuated it. With our Matco vacuum brake bleeder tool, and then we went ahead and pulled out the spark plug. So if somebody had an issue and like did that multiple times, the cylinder was filled up and they didn't evacuate it, and basically pulled out the spark plug and allowed all that oil to drain into the combustion chamber, and then they ran the bike, and then, you know, having all these problems, that amount of oil alone, you know, a couple times will be enough to, I would imagine the exhaust valves are probably just as bad as the piston dome or piston crown. And usually that's the only thing with the intake looking this good. Sometimes if you use poor fuel quality or have a bad air filter, typically it'll, you know, affect the intake valves and their appearance. Will build usually grime and gunk on them. But if you have like an oil leak into the combustion chamber some way, somehow, usually not common because everything's sealed unless you have like a bad valve guide seal. That's typically the only way, normal conditions, oil will get into the combustion chamber without having, you know, a major leak, obviously. And if it's bad enough, you know, but I'll see it over like, you know, on older bikes, takes a long time, you know, slight leak. So this looks like it was, what would the word be? Not intentional, excessive, but like kind of done to a, you know, from maybe whoever worked on it previously not being aware of what that would cause. Removing the spark plugs may have done some weird stuff, you know, dropped a lot of oil into the cylinder, ran it, did a couple times, and now we got almost 300 psi in cylinder number 4. Yep. Mercury makes a wicked spray in a spray can. You can spray it right into, it's like it's like injector cleaner. It's called an engine cleaner and a can. Engine cleaner and a can. Interesting. Mercury. We're talking about what do you call it? Marine products, Mercury? Like Mercruiser? Is that what we're talking about? If you're still in the chat, I'll have to check it out. I know, like I said, the BRP product, but yeah, I mean, there's also like another thing, but nothing really cleans the top of the engine crown or the piston crown. Like, you got products like this right here. You can use Molly Flush, but you know, that's going to remove harmful deposits from the engine. So this is like something you add to your engine oil right here. Basically breaks up all the carbon and crap that might be, you know, built up in the crankcase if you haven't done, you know, a lot of oil changes on it. But as far as the combustion chamber, that's the issue there. So I'm about to lose battery. We got about 4%, about an hour into this. So we're going to go ahead and contact the owner of the bike and see what they want to do. All right, guys, just found this channel. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up, share it with your buddies. And we do a lot of random, just all depends on, you know, what kind of bikes we're working on at the time, what kind of issues they have, kind of dictates the type of repair and procedures that we're going to live stream. And yeah, sometimes it's interesting, like this this Triumph right here. Originally started out, I had the anticipation of an electrical diagnosis, which who knows, it still could have, you know, some electrical issues. We don't know that for certain, but you know, initial judgment is it's probably okay. I'm thinking that the main issue is you know, that valve cover leak there. So yeah, let's see, blah 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 blah. What do they say? Look up the BG product. It's a wicked good product. Just did, buddy. We'll see you next time. All right, guys. Yep, we're out of here. All right, have a good night. Phew.